What is up, everyone? I'm Vincent, and today we're going to be covering some of the review sheets I've done, some interesting stuff here on doing more construction type studies, as well as drawing a lot from How to Draw the Marvel Way, that book that always pops up. But this video may be a little bit shorter than usual because I did something crazy. I I drew a Frank Frazetta, and so that's gonna be my next video, um, talking about what happened there. But anyway, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but today we're going to jump into this video. Um, this video covered two main things. The first section is a lot of drawings from this video that came on Proco's channel from Art WOD, WOD. It was the 6 steps to draw anything video, and the first time I saw it, it was really interesting. And so now that I got through the portrait drawing class, I decided to go back to the video. I always wanted to draw some of the stuff out of there, and I did a lot of drawings from that video. And so there are some interesting things in there, as well as the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. Did a lot of drawings and from there as well. So let's jump right into this first section, which has to do with six steps, oh my goodness, to draw anything. So this was really cool. Art WOD actually has these 6 steps to manipulating these primitive shapes to draw everything. I didn't get through all 6 steps because the later ones are really advanced, but the initial steps I did get through. This first one was structuralization. It's basically putting down the basic primitive shapes, the cylinders, the boxes, the circles or squares, and being able to place them in space somewhat believably. So here was a few of his first drawings that I did as well. And it went pretty quickly to step 2, which is manipulation. And so you have the primitive forms, but you then begin pulling them and stretching them, of course, and they showed some of the robo beans as well from the Proco figure drawing course, and I went ahead and redid those as well. This was also a manipulation, and in this section he talked a lot about manipulating the contour edges of your primitive shapes that's being squashed and stretched. And so this part was really cool for me, thinking about how you could do some very interesting things with just thinking about how the contour is shaping the organic primitive shape that you originally created. So he gave these examples of, you have this cylinder bending in space, you can use a circle, but you could also use this diamond shape and you get a slightly different object, as well as this more diamondy with more curved shapes, and you even get something more interesting if you learn how to manipulate the contours. And the same thing here with the cylinder. You can have the circle, you can add on to the cylinder shape, and then you can even contort it into something totally different and come out with a totally different design. I think this process is really cool. I haven't really got to play around with it as much as I would want to as yet, but I saw it in the video and I'm like, I have to try this at some point, because it looked so cool in terms of drawing from imagination. And this was the last thing that I drew on this page, and it's in the video as well, but you can just see how it can be then translated into something very complicated, very interesting visually, just by using these simple concepts. And I think this is really cool. At some point I'm going to want to dive more into this in terms of drawing from imagination. And I think well, I can't talk more about Frazetta right now, but I'm definitely wanting to come back to this. I really think it's very interesting. So This was more shape manipulation, and he was basically just talking about now that you have the box in space, you can manipulate the corners of it and preserving those bevel edges and doing certain things. And I'm just gonna say again, you've heard me say this in a lot of videos, but watching it and seeing how it looks simple is one level of learning, but actually doing it just provides this entire other level of learning. Just getting your hands to do what your brain knows, that's a totally different thing. Because if you're watching the video, you'll just go, oh yeah, I get that. But to get your hand to actually do what your brain knows, it's totally different. So here were some additional drawings still from that same video of how the 6 steps to draw anything, a mannequinized little cartoony character. And then I went ahead and did this for myself, actually just threw some boxes out there, see if I could stack them up and make it look kind of believable. I think it turned out cool. So this drawing here was actually one that they showed that was done by Marshall from the Draftman podcast. Everybody knows who Marshall is. If you don't, then okay, you don't. But yeah, I saw this and I was like, oh, this is a really cool construction horse from more primitive shapes. It's kind of elaborate, but still primitive. And I went and copied that. Really like how the structure turned out, and yeah, I really liked it. Really cool drawing that Marshall did, and got to copy it down. So this bull here is also another one that Marshall did, and again another pretty cool one that I was just like, I have to copy that down just to learn certain things from it. Even a simple thing as putting these lines in, it actually doing it makes a huge difference in your understanding of what's actually going on and how you actually get to turn the different planes of the shapes that you're drawing. So pretty cool stuff. Again, I'm stacking more boxes just from imagination, and just testing out some of my perspective work and seeing how I could begin in the 6 steps process of doing things from imagination. Again, more boxes from imagination, just playing around with how to do those things in perspective. This one was a fish that I constructed, kind of random, but for some reason I felt like doing a fish. It was alright. Okay, so this jumps into the second part of the work that I was doing. I left off from the video about how to draw anything, and jumped into how to draw the Marvel Way book. And this was a lot on figure construction and art, action figures, more dynamic figures. And so they started off with this, of course, a kind of oval egg shape for the torso, and they had this kind of cylindrical form for the hips, which interesting now that I've been doing so much of Draw a Box, like it just made so much sense to me to put it in this kind of cylindrical organic shape and figure out exactly how it should be turned. So this actually went pretty cool for me. Haven't been doing figure drawing for a while, and definitely excited to get back into it. I will definitely be talking more about figure drawing in the next video, about the Frank Frazetta drawing that I did. So these were some first drawings from the Marvel book. Again, you see a continuation of the same concept. I really like how simple it was to just think very basically about the pose and get it onto the paper and go from there. So this is pretty cool. And you see more of the same action figures. Really liked how that one. All of these look really cool. Did them pretty quickly, uh, and yet they still turn out pretty cool. So as you can see here, there were quite a bit of these I put in. Oh, I should also say that probably some of these. So these ones I actually drew from different references outside of the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. So basically taking that style, looking at additional references, and then trying to reproduce that kind of system of copying down the reference using what I've learned. Yeah. Okay, so the next pages of the How to Draw Marvel Way go into a little bit more complicated construction where we've got more, I guess, fleshed out structures, but it's really based on the same process, and I found it particularly easy to jump over into this style, having gone through quite a few of the stick figure type. But one of the things they're emphasizing in this portion is having a strong gestural line and then building everything around that. So here we have this gestural line that's coming through all the way down to the knee. This one going from head almost straight through to the bottom of the foot here. So these are really long gestural lines that kind of give the, actually it's here, that kind of give the entire figure the line of action, so to speak, and then building the figure around that. So this was also a pretty cool concept. And here we have a last page of these mannequinized drawings. Again, in this one, I actually went out to other reference images and tried to apply what I had been learning from the previous drawings into references that were full human references, trying to use that same style. And at this point is where, having done this layout, I went, you know what, I've always toyed around with this idea of Frank Frazetta doing cool drawings. What if I just do a little quick sketch? Because I felt so comfortable with laying out the different poses, and they were all action poses, and I felt pretty comfortable with this thought of laying, and so I said, maybe I'll just do a quick sketch of Frazetta, just because I've always looked at it and go, wow, I really like how those action lines and how much action and motion is in his drawings. And so because I've been practicing action and drawing, I went, I'll just do a quick sketch inside the same style from one of his drawings. And yeah, I'm gonna have to tell you what happened in the next video. So that's why I'm cutting this one a little bit short. And I'll see you in the next video. If you want to continue following my journey, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video when I talk about Frank Frazetta. Thanks.